All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Man Cave 101 podcast. I am your hostess with the mostest, Abel, alongside of me, the man in the chair, Aaron. How are we doing tonight?
What's going on, ladies and gentlemen?
And much. They call him Kalo K, the Mama Wanna God. Live from the Man Cave. Leo, how are we doing?
What's going on, peoples? Let's get it.
Yeah, probably should have rethought that title with the DC video. But anyway, we're
Ah!
Brooklyn at Big Chase. How we doing?
You're showing
Yikes!
where I stand at.
Yikes!
How we doing, Chase?
Salute! Salute!
God, deep in the heart of Texas, Wendeezy.
Kill the stars at night are big and bright.
All right. So as always, this is Man Cave 101. We talk about all things nerdy, comics, TV, movies, games, etc., etc. If you haven't already, like, comment, and subscribe to YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, Twitch, Apple Podcast, and Spotify. We are here for all of your nerdy needs, live every Thursday at 8 p.m. And we always do pre-records to talk about some things that are on our mind. And one of the current things that are on our mind is the DC universe. So naturally, we had to all get together and kind of try and pen an open letter to James Gunn and, maybe try and get his attention. I mean, hell, we even put the picture you tweeted of you reading a Superman comic in the background of this video. So, maybe a bunch of guys with some knowledge on some comics, some TV stuff, some things we've seen in the past, Maybe you'll hear us out, maybe you won't, but god damn it, we have something to say. Um, so I think the first topic that we want to hit tonight is kind of the DC universe as a whole, where it's at now, and where we might like to see it go. So with that being said, I'm gonna hand it off to you guys. Maybe start with Chase and just kind of go around and let's just see how we feel about DC right now. What's going on?
Man, listen. I pinned DC. Let's first of all, salute to James Gunn because you know, regardless of some of the shit you might hear today, we definitely respect you. A lot of our opinions are based on things that we see happening, and we just feel like the car's going off the road. So first of all, DC has a ridiculous history. Some of the first cartoons and superheroes we ever saw um, came from your company. But as of lately, we just don't understand how you guys keep missing the mark. And I know you just kind of got there, took over the chair, but still, like there's just a lot of fuckery going on there, and it just needs to stop. It just needs to stop.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. I mean, I know me personally, like especially with my experience with DC, I've always been the biggest Batman fan. I grew up with the Batman animated series, 1989 Batman. Just all these things. I mean, Christopher Reeve Superman. These are all things that I've known since an early age. And I have a warm place in my heart for these characters. So I'm hoping that a James Gunn coming into a DC role can kind of really propel these characters. I mean, how many characters they have? Or we were talking about this before. Don't they have like something some odd 10,000 some odd
There's
characters
ten
or something like
thousand
that?
characters in the
Right,
DC universe.
right. And listen, I gotta I gotta give props to things that James Gunn has done. I mean, listen, they took a property of Guardians of the Galaxy that no one knew about and turned it into a billion-dollar franchise. It's just the truth.
Hmm.
And I'm hoping that he can take over and really propel this to those same things and do things that maybe no one else was able to do or hasn't done yet. So that's really my hopes and expectations for the future and what's going to happen.
Yeah, and also we have to also specify that we, like Abel said, we grew up on these characters, and we love certain aspects of them, but lately it's been missing the point and missing the jump off, and we're just we want to give you some feedback on maybe doing some things the different way. So this is no way or dig or anything like that. We just love these characters, and we love what you've done in the previous past with Marvel, and we're hoping to see the same quality of work that you're doing, but maybe bring it into a different direction that doesn't have to do with your top three.
Hmm.
Mhm.
I mean, I'll just jump in and say for me, I think I've obviously watched my share of DC stuff, but I fell out of liking to it, just because, as we pointed out already, a lot of it's become repetitive, same old story done differently. And I think what most of us really want to say here is, for some of these characters who we love, including the Batmans, the Superman, all of them, we just want fresh takes. And I think everybody wants fresh takes at this point, because how many times can you watch the same thing constantly, reboot it over again with different characters and somewhat slightly tweaked storylines, and think it's going to be a good adaptation? At some point you have to change and adapt and get better. And I'm hopeful that James Gunn and co can make those changes, because then I'll come back and watch the DCU again. So
Mhm. I'll say this: we all know where the big three come from. Please do not show us that again. I'm so serious. Like, you're not going to this. You're not introducing these characters to anybody new. Everybody knows Superman was a baby, shot to Earth, became Superman. We know that. Bruce Wayne's family got killed. He's a Batman. We know that. You have, and there has been written so many great stories in the comics that you can pull from. You don't have to go to this whole, oh, this is where they come from and this is why they are who they are. We get that. We know why they are who they are. Get into some of the meat and potatoes, some of the real stories that make these characters great. And I think the thing that's been lacking from DC that I would say Marvel is really excelling at is the consistency in your storytelling. It's, you start at a point and then you build and build and build and build, and it's all within itself. Like, we can't keep branching off. We can't have three different Batmans and then you got a Flash on TV and a Flash in the moon. Like, Joe, we have to stop that. I get it. You got the properties and you got the mediums, but I want to see it as one continuous universe where it all makes sense. And, well, you got infinite Earths. I get that part too. That's okay. You can flutter that in a little bit later on, but you got to establish yourselves. And I'm hoping to see you take DC, James Gunn. I want to see you take DC and put this in a light that everyone is like, wow. Like, don't try to be like Marvel. I want you to be DC, but tell good stories and make it cohesive and make it make sense. That's what I want to see, and I'll be a DC fan again forever.
All right, so let's just because I know we all had to say what we had to say, but let's just start itemizing this list. What do you guys want to see happen with Batman, or don't want to see happen with Batman?
I don't want to see his parents get killed again.
I really don't want to see his parents get killed again.
I want to see the I want to see the detective side of him. Like, I want to see Batman do Batman things, like real Batman things. I don't want to see him crashing into cars. I don't want to see that. I want to see him do some real Batman stuff. Go up against some of his rogues gallery, and constantly have to fight them because maybe one time they got the best of him for a moment, and we end the movie there like that, and then we come back to where we get the victory. I want to see Batman do Batman.
And I don't want to see the Joker, Scarecrow, or Penguin. Bring me a new villain.
Mm,
Right.
mm.
Right. I don't even need to see Catwoman, to be honest with you. I don't need to see that either.
Yeah, we
I don't
don't
need
need to see that
I
all
don't
over
need to see a thumb drive on a thumb. Like, I don't that's not something I signed up for. Say what you want. I don't care. I don't need to see it. I want give me like a real Mr. Freeze that isn't Arnold Schwarzenegger. You know
Yeah,
what? Yeah, I would even take Poison Ivy again if he did her right. I don't care.
you know,
Deadshot,
Honestly, give me Clayface.
Deadshot,
Give me Man
Deadshot.
Bat. Give me like
Deadshot.
yeah.
give me like a real give me Deadshot. Like give me
Oh,
something
Deathstroke.
neat.
Bro,
what's it called? The Royal House, the Royal Flush Gang.
ro-
Right. Give me the Court of Owls.
Word.
Yeah,
Something
yeah.
I
we
need the Court
haven't
of
seen
Owls.
yet.
Now you talking.
Now we
Yeah.
talk. Now we
I
talk.
know. That's all I do is talk. I
Yeah.
got it.
So, what about Superman?
We don't want to see him come down to earth, like Wendell already said. We don't want. We don't need. We don't need his backstory told again.
Never, ever, ever again.
Why couldn't you, in theory, right? If you started a Superman movie off, why couldn't you just express how he got there in the first 15 to 20 minutes and then go into a story?
No,
Because it'll be like every other Superman
No,
movie.
no. But I'm not saying.
Start
But
with him
most of,
fighting, catching somebody, saving somebody. We know Superman. Superman is old as crap. Everybody knows Superman. I don't need to see 10 minutes of his little spaceship flying through space. I don't need none of that.
Right. And
I
how
need to
about
see laser beams out the eyes, catching a car, saving the day.
and I'll tell you what, give me more like cosmic Superman. Like it doesn't necessarily all need to take place on Earth. Maybe it just ends there. Like just give me something like Superman could go fly to other planets and do other shit.
Yeah,
Like
yeah. I'm with you. I'm with you, Abel. Me personally, I'm just ready for cosmic Superman. I want to listen. I want to see Darkseid. I want to see Darkseid, bro. I listen.
idea.
I love
Look.
that whole series, that whole story with him and Darkseid. Listen, I just love that. Absolutely love it.
And
Granny Goodness. I want to see her.
the thing is that if they do, if we're going in the same direction as we did before, just because you put your take of it and you still telling me the same story as the book that you're reading on your coffee table, and I see you're about 4 pages, about 4 or 5 pages in, and you can see where it starts at.
That, bro.
You see how thick that book is? he's more than 45 pages, but I can already see where you're going with this story, and if you're using this as context, we're going to get the same story that you gave, that everybody else, the same rendition that everybody else gave us, and that's it's going to be a pain.
It's going to be caca.
Nobody wants the rehashes, bro.
Yeah, no more. What about the Flash?
Oh man, listen, that's something I'll talk about later. But I mean, man, which Flash? You know, which Flash, bro?
I don't know.
Listen, you know what? I'm just gonna say it straight up, since we're talking to James Gunn specifically. Don't bring back Ezra Miller. I don't care.
Yeah.
Honestly, if you bring back Ezra Miller, you are in for you're in for a world of hurt, and you're gonna get everyone pissed. And you know, I'm not gonna say his name, but it's because of who you kicked out. You know, go full reboot, delete it all, start over, page 1,
scratch. Give me
including the stuff that you were tied into.
Give me some new faces. Give me a new faces, new stories.
You have
bring
to.
stories that we haven't seen yet.
Right.
There's millions of them.
Anything
Good
that
ones,
was connected to a certain other universe, you need to delete. And
Just get rid of it.
unfortunately, every single property that you did, Mr. Gunn, was connected to that universe. You did it because you were told to. It's gotta end. Sorry.
Yep.
Aquaman.
Man, listen.
You have Aquaman 2 already almost is supposedly done. And I get that you have to bring something out. I get you have nothing to do with it. Let it play its part and see where you end up with the storyline that you want to bring. But losing where the water is already up to here. Not to make it funny, but your nose is already covered in water. So I understand the stress level and the craziness that's going on over there and what you're trying to. I'm trying to understand what you're doing, and I also know that board members and partners are going to be coming for your head if nobody comes watch these movies. And as fans, and you can call everybody a fanboy or whatever, but we're the ones that pay the bills.
Mm-hmm.
You got to remember that. Without us, you guys don't have a universe.
Mhm.
So
And,
go ahead.
no, I'm just saying. I'll be honest. I can't even judge James Gunn on the Flash, Aquaman,
Right.
new Shazam
No,
movie, and
no,
Or
even
Blue
like
Beetle.
the Beetle
not him.
movie. I can't. You can't. I don't
I
think
am.
it's fair. It's not fair for any of us to judge him on that
I
because you know
wouldn't do
what
it.
you know what the fact of the matter is, he's not. He can't come out and like disregard those movies because at the end of the day, he works for a studio that needs to make money. And that's why they're not saying, but you will see as these movies come out, they're going to make announcements about their characters, their movies, and whatever it is moving forward. And maybe they bring them back for a Crisis on Infinite Earth situation.
Don't
But
talk like that.
yeah, listen,
That's what.
it just is
I,
what it is.
But
okay, look.
but in 2024, we are going to be watching your movies.
Right. No,
We
100%. Like
realize
listen,
that.
when it is a James Gunn production, that's when you have my attention.
Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, personally, I just want to say, with respect to these movies, you know, I think what a lot of what we're trying to tell you is that, this regurgitation process is not working. Also, the strategy in which you guys are delivering this stuff is not working because you're losing continuity. It's starting out somewhere, and then the next week there's somebody new here. There's somebody new here. There's somebody like there are 4 different Batmans, 3 different Supermans, 5 different Batgirls. Like it's just all over the fucking place and whatnot. And at some point, you guys just got to be on one single line. I understand that, like I said, you just got there, so you have to,
Right.
start. We all were in conflict about the cancellations that you made, but we also understood that you were trying to like completely wipe the board clean and start over fresh and whatnot. In respect to these more popular characters or the core, what I call the core of DC, just new material, new stories, introduce new characters. Just no more of this rocketing the earth and parents getting killed, and it's just the same shit over and over. Nobody wants to see it anymore. It's just time to move on.
Yep.
Mhm.
Um, Wonder Woman.
1982 sucked,
84.
Yeah,
and
but again, not
84
84.
whatever.
One of the
there's
worst
nothing
superhero adaptations ever.
it's nothing he could do about that, but like it's just a shame because I thought Gal Gadot was brilliant in that role.
Yes.
Well, I mean, we're not so much talking about the movie before. We're talking about what to do
Right.
with it going forward. So, what
Right.
would you like to see happen with Wonder Woman going forward?
Listen, I was actually okay with the way she was introduced the first time. So
Right.
I could see them doing
Mhm.
something similar to that again. And I don't think anyone would have a problem with it. Because you know why? It wasn't necessarily an origin story. It was like, hey guys, here's Wonder Woman. Oh, who's Wonder Woman? And then you kind of just learn as you go. And even the first movie, it wasn't like terribly an origin story. Like I just think we're all over origin stories. How
But the
do
thing is,
we No, go ahead.
with Wonder Woman, we got her origin story. We got that part done. So you can still use Wonder Woman's first movie and still keep it canon with your new DCU. You could keep it. You could DCEU. You could keep it in the same clip because it was an origin story and it was done very well. But if you don't, if you don't, if you take out the 1984 and then you start from there, from her last movie where she killed
Aries.
Ares, and then you start from there. Okay, we can keep it going from there and leave it at that. But you could keep Gal Gadot in a later time because Wonder Woman stays that age for whatever. She never gets younger. Since we already lost young Wonder Woman, so that's over and said and done with.
Mm.
For me, I'd like to see I'd like to see her return home. I'd like to see some of the other Amazons that are there. We know that Zenobia is around. I just like to see more of her homeworld. Um, where she's connected. She's connected to mythology and all of that. I'd like to see some of that explored and whatnot. Stories about inner Earth and dealing with the gods and all of that. I just don't the introducing her during the World War was fine. But I just like to see more mystical stuff. Um, Not to mention the Zack Snyder cut where they're they're actually guarding one of the pieces is a dope line. Like you get to see, all the warriors show up and whatnot and do what they do. That piece right there is something that is just dope and whatnot. So I'd like to see that kind of thing happen.
Well, you got anybody else with the Wonder Woman?
Nah, I'm good
Okay.
with one.
All right, so let's switch gears. Let's talk about what characters we like to see. So who have you not seen that needs to be represented?
All right, who wants to kick this bad boy off?
I will. I'll tell you who my guy is. My dude is Eobard Thorne, the Reverse Flash. Now, I like the Reverse Flash because, well, the Reverse Flash is quite sick in the mother effing head. I think this guy needs to come to the screen. I think he needs to be a big bad for a different Flash. Not saying a different Flash, but somebody else playing Flash. Like this would be like a quintessential villain that you put in there, and he can disappear and then come back. Yo, Eobard Thorne's story is so sick. Like the man really has a deep seated hatred for this man Barry. I want to see that put up on screen. All right, my man ran from the future to the past to kill this dude and terrorizes his life. I love Reverse Flash. Every story that I've read with him in it just made me just love him even more. He's like number two as a villain for me, coming after Joker. But I can care less. I mean, there's tons of heroes, but I love villains. I want to see him put on screen properly. Show me him. That's an origin story I'd like to watch, people. That'd be a new take. Don't start with a hero. Do a villain movie, man. That's what I want to see you do, DC. That's all I got to say. I just want my Reverse Flash. Give him to me.
All right, who got next?
Abel, Aaron.
I'll go next. That's fine.
All right.
So one of the big things that I want to see, and I feel like also needs redemption, is the Green Lantern as a whole, and not really just any one specific character, just that entire world. I think it handles part of the cosmic thing, where like when we were saying that about Superman before, that Green Lantern can kind of get us more into that world. Obviously, the Green Lantern movie that we got, well, it just speaks for itself. So I do not need to
What?
really. I do not need to see anything else about that. It obviously left a lot to be desired. One of those things being desired is obviously the character of Hal Jordan. But honestly, for me, Sinestro. I really think the Sinestro and the Sinestro Core, because I'm pretty sure that was a thing, is something that could be brought to light and maybe be kind of a buildup of a story. You don't even need to start with that. You have the Sinestro Core, and then you have Atrocitus too, which is the Red Lantern, which is a whole nother story. This is all just could be like a big. You want to talk about a trilogy or a big lead up to things? That's a lead up to thing, and then talking about just how you start an origin story in general like that. It doesn't need to be an origin story, and maybe you don't even you started as Hal Jordan being the Green Lantern, and maybe we're figuring out how he passes the torch to John Stewart, and maybe Stewart is the actual origin story. So like you already have an established Hal Jordan, maybe, and then you give it to John Stewart, and maybe they've already fought the Sinestro Corps, but they somehow come back, something like that. I don't know what the deal is with that. I couldn't tell you, but I think we need some Green Lantern redemption. So with that being said, that's where I'm at.
Mhm.
All right.
Mhm.
All right. In my pick will be Ra's al Ghul.
Mm.
We've seen
We got Ra's al Ghul already.
yes, we did
Nah.
get Ra's al Ghul. We ain't get a real Ra's al Ghul.
Yeah, we didn't. Yeah.
We did it. The only time that we got a real Ra's al Ghul, I can tell you right now, it wasn't in Dark Knight Rises. It was in probably the animated series, the Batman animated series, and back in the day, and the Batman Beyond series that we got him a little bit, and the Brave and the Bold. That's the two that we got him in.
Right.
So And the animated series was the better Ra's al Ghul out of all of them. And the Batman Begins, right? That Ra's al Ghul, I love the actor. Don't get me wrong, but it fell short. It fell really short. And just to give you a little bit of the backstory, his first appearance was in Batman 232, The Daughter of the Dragon. So if you take that whole series run and you take a character that's 700 years old and you bring out the Lazarus Pit, and then you bring out the League of Shadows, and don't even bring that out. Bring out the assassins, the League of Assassins, the Daughter of the Dragon. You bring out that, and you got to realize one thing: this character has been in 923 issues. So, and he's from 1971. So you telling me that you can make a series just based on his origin story, and his origin story goes far and few in between, as that I know of, and even in the cartoon has never been told. So basically, his origin story will be a villain because he's an eco-terrorist, and also he's like a anti-hero because the way he started is because his he was captured. He was a nomad. He was captured, and the king, he was training his son, and his son died, and the king put him in a case to die. And then somebody, a son of his, brought him back out, and put him in the Lazarus pit to give him the strength. And then he became a master swordsman. Then he became a master of the martial arts. Then just the ability that you can get and the storyline, just alone, he has. In the League of Assassins, he has 51 known characters that he works with. 5-1. All bad guys. Without even touching Batman. So if you start at that and you bring his daughter Telly into a storyline that starts, you can even make this on the HBO Max serial show and make it that you pay the money, you waste them, you put the money into the project. Because if you started from the beginning and you bring and build it and build it and build it until he gets to freaking Batman, you have at least 6 seasons before you even get to Batman. Without touching Batman, because he's the head of an crime organization for 700 years. So,
no, I listen. I'm with you. I agree. Like for me, it's like, listen, I want to see the whole development of Ra's al Ghul, the League of Assassins, and the League of. I want to see the whole thing happen because I mean, listen, the better part of what we did see in the movies is it's almost it's barbarian. It's that whole era and whatnot. So to see the development, his development of being captured, being trained, the whole thing that happens all the way up until Bruce Wayne arrives and whatnot, is in itself probably 2 or 3 movies that would be excellent.
so do you understand?
Yo,
But you,
man,
you
that's
understand
like 9 movies, man. You know how far you can go with that whole entire thing.
and the thing is, you can see that all the empires. The one thing that they did say right in Batman Begins, that you know how many empires that we have conquered and destroyed back from the Roman times.
Can we see some of that? Just can we see some of that?
Just a little bit.
Live action? Can we see some of that?
A little bit.
And then you give the biggest knock to 2 of your greatest artists that's ever walked and graced the DC universe for a comic book. You got Dennis O'Neil and the GOAT, Neil Adams.
Preach.
So you want to pay homage and you want to do things right. I always believe in, you have to know your history before you can go to the future. You can't start and jump off from the future and think that you're going to keep going forward. You talk about the past, that way you don't repeat it. But if you never talked about this main character and you have Neil Adams' work and you have Dennis O'Neil's work written for you and the storyline, it's literally play by play, do fucking action sequences, and everything will work out to the way you want. And you can bring out 51, count them, 51 villains that he's tied to in the 700 years that this villain has been a part of. That's all I got to say. And this is a hand me for you. If you don't know nothing about Ra's al Ghul, look him up. Look up his backstory and tell me that's not a movie ready to be written.
Google him.
Like I said,
without touching fucking Batman.
Google him.
Yeah. Like you haven't even gotten to that. Aaron, Abel, Wendeezy.
I will. I'll take my turn here. So, I was tasked with a little bit of a Superman villain. I chose it, I should say. So, like everybody's been saying, I don't want to sit here and say Superman is tough, but we've seen a lot of villains fight Superman already on the big screen, right? Even on the small screen. But the one that I chose to go with was Braniac. Here's my reasoning behind Braniac. So, we have seen the adaptation in the DCU of Lex Luthor. Personally, I wasn't a fan. Don't know how you guys feel.
Nope.
Wasn't a fan.
Nope.
We saw a Doomsday in the DCU. Personally, again,
nope, not my Doomsday.
Not my
wasn't
Doomsday.
really a fan. Again, my point exactly, right? We've seen Batman fight Superman.
Meh.
I have no comment on that movie.
Martha!
Why did you say that name?
So
sorry.
So Braniac has been on the small screen. Actually, I had to do a little bit of research today to realize that he was in Smallville a long time ago. So, but we haven't seen a Braniac villain on the big screen. Why do I think he would work? I think that he's been rebooted a couple different times throughout his time. He obviously, Superman villains date back to the age before time at this point, and they've all been rebooted at some point to retell their stories, right? So I think Braniac works because he's technically, if you want to say, I mean, it depends on what version you're reading and all that, right? But basically an alien / computer, right? So it's a more modernized story. We've all been talking about already. A modernized. You could take this adaptation, and Brainiac's whole thing is he tries to basically steal sections of the planet in order to basically recreate his home in a sense. At least that's one of the adaptations, but I know there's others, but it's almost essentially a similar storyline throughout. A couple different changes here and there and variations. But in my opinion, this would be a fresh villain for us to see Superman fight, which I think would be really dope. And in turn, you can go a bunch of different ways in telling a long form story of Superman. And I didn't really want to necessarily tie this in, but I will say, if I had to pick one of the adaptations of the ones that I looked at, I would go back to the Action Comics 866 to 870, which is the one where it was written by Jeff Johns. And that one was a fresh reboot of the character, Braniac, where he did come to Earth and tried to basically take Metropolis, whatever, and he tried to recreate his own home with it. So while I do think it's kind of a quote-unquote cliche story, if you will, I just think seeing a new Superman villain would bring life to that franchise again. And the reason why the reason why I went back and talked about those previous villains before is because we've already talked about Lex Luthor, right? Why haven't we seen the scientist Lex Luthor as well, who's teamed up with Braniac to try and defeat Superman? And he wears his war suit, his suit. And when those two team up together, they are a dynamic duo that would actually give Superman a run for his fucking money, right? So, like, why don't we see this adaptation in a Superman movie? It would be a breath of fresh air. And I want to see more of a maniacal, smart scientist Lex Luthor, coupled with a smart Braniac that you're not necessarily overpowering Superman, because any person knows it's very difficult to overpower Superman. He's one of the strongest beings ever to be created, right? So sometimes you got to fucking outsmart him. And guess what those two are? Really fucking smart. So if we see that adaptation and add that in with some Cosmos tie-in, why couldn't we just get that take on Superman? That's all I got to say. I'll leave it at that.
All right, Chase, you're up.
Okay, so I got a couple of things, so I guess this is why they save me for last here. So number one, I'm a big fan of the Young Justice animated series, season 1, season 2, and season 4 specifically. The whole origin of the Blue Beetle. I know that movie's coming out. The whole story about the Reach technology, and all of that is just absolutely freaking just dope, man. Like if that comes to live action, you have something. You just do. $1 billion have something guaranteed. I also just like to see. I have kind of a list of characters that I just don't understand why we haven't seen them. The whole Atom family, starting with Al Pratt and Ray Palmer. Why haven't we seen Atom Smasher and Damage? That to me is easily a 2-3 part movie that can. The question. The question to me always seemed like the precursor to Batman because he is a detective in the story. I think that would just be like so great to see the question. You get a hero. It's not about his superpowers. It's completely about his brain, and I think that's dope. I'd like to also see like Night Owl, Nightwing. Nightwing deserves at this point. I think that he has sat in the shadows long enough where at this point he needs his own live action, bro. He's earned it.
Yeah, but we're getting him in the WB though.
Stop.
Yeah, like I said, just stop that. Like he needs his own. Nightwing needs his own thing. He's earned it. He's he's sat in the wings long enough. Jonah Hex, listen, Cowboys never go out of style. I don't care what the era is. Cowboys.
Guess what League of Assassins is he in?
There you go.
I guess
there you go.
I mean, we did get a Jonah Hex at one point in time.
Yeah, there we go. Vixen. Listen, you can't get more relevant of a superhero than Vixen. A super fashion model who's around all the glitz and glamour, which is all what today is about, and she has superpowers. And she fine as hell. Why is that not a live action? This is, for all intents and purposes, this is Beyonce with superpowers. How is that not relevant? Why can't we do that? I'd love to see that on the screen. I think all of us would, and whatnot. John Stewart, the Green Lantern. Like, let's just put him full in, military battles on Earth, cosmic. He goes wherever, and he does what he does. Plastic Man for the kids. I know you wanted something for the kids. Plastic Man. Now I'm not crazy about Elongated Man, but Plastic Man was always a favorite for me. I don't know about anybody else.
With the sunglasses, son?
With the sunglasses, bro. Sunglasses, bro. Super. Dude, he always looks like a super greaser to me, bro. He's
for
like,
real.
he always looks like Fonzie with the big goggles on, bro. Like
he got the shiny Superman curl.
yeah, bro. But Plastic Man is a kid friendly, fun character, and bro, listen, it would blow it up. It would blow it up, man. I'm sorry. Last character, Firestorm. I remember when the first Firestorm came out. I got that comic. I was hooked on it. Yeah, Firestorm is another character that is super powerful, fun, and just you can do whatever you want to do with him. So I'm gonna end my list right there.
And you see that, Mr. Gunn, we haven't hit Deathstroke.
Nope.
Nope.
And those are the layups.
Yeah.
Those are layup characters.
If done correctly.
If done correctly, those are layup freaking characters, and these are characters that people love. But this also calls for you scrapping your Suicide Squads.
Please no more of that shit.
All right, that's what it calls for. But these are, like we said, these are our picks that new adaptations on the characters that you don't even have to touch your big three.
Yeah, yeah.
And hopefully you take this in kind heart, and this is just from from fans,
From fans. Yeah,
Fans.
from fans, and
listen.
grew up on this content.
Or you could tell us that we're all in our mom's basement and don't know what we're talking about. So
Could
it could
go
go either
away.
way.
It could go either way. I hope you take the criticism as positive, because
We're not criticizing.
we're not criticizing. We're just
No.
telling
We're not
you
criticizing. We're just-
what we
what
would
we'd
like to see. What we like to see.
I think I think at the end of the day, what it comes down to is we all just want to see DC be
Word.
great again. And to Wendell's point from the beginning, like it doesn't have to. Obviously, it's going to compete with Marvel, but it doesn't have to be Marvel. It can be different and still
That's
be
right.
good.
Mhm.
And I think that's what we all would want to see
Yeah,
at the end of the day.
you guys have 10,000 plus characters, and the one thing that DC has been suffering from is that you're simply afraid to go into your library. And everybody just wants to live off of the same 4 or 5 characters over and over and over again. I get it. The technology's new. Let's try it again. We don't want to see that shit anymore.
And you can also ask anybody who's seen the Black Adam movie, what was the best part of those movies, and I guarantee you, not one of them mentioned Black Adam.
Sure didn't. All right. Well, with that being said, Mr. James Gunn, we hope you take this little message and open letter from a bunch of hopeful DC fans that you're going to do the right thing by our characters, and we're looking forward to hopefully seeing what you can do with them. With that being said, from myself, Leo, Chase, Wendeezy, Aaron, this is the Man Cave 101. We talk all things nerdy. Follow us. YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, Twitch, Apple Podcast, and Spotify. We will talk to you soon. Take care. Let's go. Give me my outro.